The most expensive years of my career were the ones where nothing happened. Not because I was failing, but because I was spending way too much time with what everybody else was doing. I'm Marc, this is Undercurrents, and today's topic, why you will never catch up. So about 10 years ago, I hit a real wall in my career. And, something had broken inside of me. I had my own design agency. We'd been in business for a good, decade, 15 years. We were solvent, we were busy. I had employees, everything looked fine from the outside. But I hated it. I hated going to work. And it was draining me. And I felt like there wasn't enough me going into the work. It felt like I was just trading my life for a few bucks by the hour. And at a certain point, things got pretty dark, actually, and I started questioning what type of a person would put themselves in this position, and what type of a person would get divorced, and what type of a person, all these different things that I had gone through. And I think at the crux of this crossroads, I guess, I made a ridiculous decision, and that was to just try something different. And so I couldn't quit my job. I had employees, and they were all dependent on me. And I didn't really want to quit my job. I just wanted to do something different. So I started designing a tabletop board game, dice and cardboard and all of that. And I would get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, and I would go to the coffee shops with my sketchbook and my headphones, and I would put instrumental music on, and I would just start sketching mechanisms, and I would start naming places, and I would start designing, storylines for this game that I was making. And I just got lost in it. I couldn't stop doing it. And I know that it was a form of escapism, but it was more than that. And so for 3 years, I would get up every day, and I would work for 2 or 3 hours in the morning. I would go to my day job, work my whole day, come home, eat dinner, and then that night I would continue working on this game. And on the weekends too, I'd work through the weekends, and it wasn't work. It was a reignition of the passion that I think had just worn off of me over time. And all this time I'm thinking to myself, I could have been so much further ahead. I could look at what these people are doing. Look what these people have done with their business. They're half my age. And I was missing it. At some point, I was coerced almost to put the game onto crowdfunding platform, Kickstarter. And at the time, I didn't even really know what that was, but people told me, gosh, you have something here that's worthwhile. You've put so much into it, years of work. You should let them decide if it's for them or not. Don't make that judgment call yourself. And so I did. The game funded actually ridiculously well. And, I had a lot of lessons during that time too, but the game is in 70 countries now. And I look back and I think now that, it started a new company. It started a new path for me creatively, and it created a new mindset for me and exposed some lies that I think I had believing before I had been believing. And as I reflect on what my belief system was at the time, here's kind of what that looks like. So this is what I call the paralysis loop. I would say these things to myself like, I'm so far behind. And I wasn't really behind, but this is how I felt. And so after that, I would tell myself, I just need to work harder. And obviously that's not the solution. That eventually just turns into, what am I doing wrong? And then when you start to vacillate with that long enough, you start to ask the question, well, what's wrong with me? And this becomes this a cycle, a deadly cycle. And at a certain point, you just have to say, I won't do this anymore. It's not that I can't do this anymore, it's that I won't do this anymore. So I was stuck in this loop for years, really. And it took diving into a project of this magnitude to really break me out of that. So in retrospect, I can tell you that I really was never behind. Nobody else is even in my race. The thing holding me back wasn't my situation. It was what I didn't believe about myself yet. And I think if I could go back, I would just tell myself that other people's journeys are their own. Mine is unique to me. And I needed to listen to that little, still small voice inside that said, maybe you should just try it. Maybe you should just go. Maybe today's the day. It's less about where you're going and more about who you're becoming. If you've had a similar experience, please let me know in the comments. So if any of this resonates with you, I've got something on the website. For those who know, the hardest work isn't the work. It's a free download. There's no weird sales obligation or anything like that. And if you like content like this, then you know where to find me.